the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Just like that, when he came to help people, someone decided that his life wasn't worthy.
An out-of-town volunteer and teacher killed on a DC street. What led up to the fatal robbery as loved ones deal with the unthinkable. And DeSantis drops out what the one-time top contender to take on Donald Trump says about the GOP race days before the next big primary. And it's almost time for tax season. Good news, we're stretching your dollar to help you file all across the DMV.
And I have some good news in the weather department. Even though Arctic air is still hanging around this evening, we're going to see a change go the other direction and a warming trend ensue. We'll talk about that with my 7-day forecast.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for DC News Now at 9 this Sunday evening. I'm Ben Dennis. Our focus starts on Prince George's County. A police officer is in the hospital after being hit by a van. Officials say they responded to a call for a possible break-in at a gas station on Crane Highway around 2 a.m. When one of the officers approached the driver of the van that was parked outside of the store, the driver drove away and hit the officer. Another officer then fired his gun at the driver. The driver and a second suspect were arrested not long after the fact. One of the suspects was shot. The investigation is ongoing. Meantime, in D.C., police are investigating a deadly hit and run. This happened in Northwest. A man was crossing 16th Street, we're told, around 1 a.m. yesterday morning when a Toyota Camry hit and killed him. The driver then left the scene. The victim, 39-year-old Delaverler Dunbar, was sent to a nearby hospital where he died. Anyone with information is asked to call police. Staying in the district, police investigate two separate shootings within a period of 5 minutes that left two men hurt just this morning. The first on 3rd Street Northeast around 4:30. When police got there, they found a man who was unconscious but breathing. He was sent to a local hospital. Around 4 minutes later, officers then responded to a shooting on Mississippi Ave in Southeast. It was there they found a man who had been shot. He was conscious and breathing. Both of those investigations are ongoing. And developing tonight, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has suspended his campaign for president. The GOP primary field now down to 2. DeSantis exits the race just 2 days before the New Hampshire primary and after a resounding second-place finish in the Iowa caucus. Early polls, of course, indicated that DeSantis was in a strong position to take on former President Donald Trump in the primary. This, of course, tonight did not happen.
I can't ask our supporters to volunteer their time and donate their resources if we don't have a clear path to victory. Accordingly, I am today suspending my campaign.
And in his announcement online to exit the race, DeSantis endorsed Trump. Meanwhile, former UN ambassador in South Carolina, Governor Nikki Haley, she remains the closest contender to the former president in the GOP primary field. And just ahead, the local primary election news Virginians need to know to cast their ballot. Stay with us. And back to your local headlines. The morning continues tonight around the DMV and New York State after somebody shot Ryan Realbuto Thursday night along South Dakota Avenue in Northeast. The 23-year-old was part of a religious group in the district to help the community. DC News Now's Dave Laval joins us from Tacoma Park, where the victim worked to make a difference.
It's a difficult time for everyone here at the school, especially the students, according to a teacher who did not want to go on camera. He described Ryan Realbuto as a saint and someone already greatly missed.
Oh my gosh, that's heartbreaking. His whole life was ahead of him.
Tacoma Park's Denisha Jackson did not know Ryan Realbuto. She mourns his loss nonetheless.
So the fact that he wanted to be a giver and help the community, and then someone thought his life wasn't worthy, it's heartbreaking.
Jackson lives across the street from Don Bosco Cristo Rey High School, where Realbuto taught. He came to the DMV a few months ago as part of Cap Corps, founded by the Capuchin Franciscan Friars. He's part of the group in the area for a year to serve those in need.
His whole life was ahead of him. And just like that, when he came to help people, someone decided that his life wasn't worthy. His life was worth more than that.
Cap Corps released a statement about the death on its Facebook page that said in part, quote, "They didn't take anything of value except the most valuable thing." Someone shot Realbuto on D.C.'s South Dakota Avenue Northeast the night of January 18th. He's the second person killed that night.
I pray that he didn't die in vain.
Realbuto's funeral takes place next Saturday in his hometown of Pittsford, New York. D.C. police are offering a reward of up to $25,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the person responsible. In Tacoma Park, Dave Laval, DC News Now.
Thanks to Dave tonight. Meantime, Capcor said it also expects to host a memorial service in D.C. Still no word of when that will happen. And attention to drivers in Montgomery County. There's a water main break that's closed 2 lanes of southbound and 1 northbound lane of Route 29. That's between Southwood and Timberwood Avenues in Silver Spring. Officials say drivers should expect delays in the area and try to find another route if possible. Meantime, officials also dealing with another water main break, this time in Arlington. Crews are on the scene for that break on South 28th Street. The road closed. The Arlington Department of Environmental Services says that 200 water customers could be impacted. Officials expect to fix that main break by midnight. We'll keep you updated. Time is 9:05 on DC News Now at 9. As promised, your forecast with who better to give it? Scott Sumner. We got a live look outside of the Kennedy Center. It's a lot less breezy out there than it was this time yesterday.
Yeah, the camera's not going haywire there. I tell you what, Ben, it has calmed down quite a bit. As a matter of fact, winds here in the city are northwest at 8 miles an hour with the temperature currently below freezing, sitting at 30 degrees and clear skies across the area. As you note, other wind speeds are pretty much in the same boat as the district. I mean, most areas are under 10 miles an hour, the exception being Lexington Park and Kaiser. But other than that, even some calm winds here at Culpeper, Fredericksburg, over towards the Waldorf area. So that's good news in the sense that we can see high pressure coming in from the west, and that's what's helping to relax a lot of these winds this evening. And once that happens, the wind chill really gets or becomes negated here. Yes, it's just becoming cold out there, but we can deal with that. It's just when those winds are howling that makes it feel a lot worse. So planning your evening, if you're one of those folks that have to actually, or know people that have to get up early in the morning, overnight, over the next couple of hours, you can see those temperatures holding in the 20s and getting down into the teens, but the whatever wind is out there will make it feel a little bit cooler than that. Now tomorrow, if you have a travel trip planned, a business trip, or even just a vacation for that matter, you're leaving some of the local airports here, it should be good for flying. 38 degrees here, mostly sunny, still chilly in the morning, in the afternoon. Well, we'll see a little bit of reprieve there with temperatures in some spots getting up to around 40 degrees. But needless to say, we'll see much more of a warm up here as I've been talking about, and we'll show you that with the 7-day forecast coming up.
Plenty to cover. Thank you, Scott. Meantime, there's some car trouble for electric car owners because of those cold temps. Some Tesla owners have said their cars have died, essentially, because the cold drained their batteries. But there are ways to slow that from happening.
Last year, I had to do it in the winter. I never faced this last year, but this year it's horrible.
The best way to do is to tell your car in the navigation that you're going to charge, and it preconditions the battery to accept the charge faster.
So far, Tesla has not responded to comments about those draining batteries. In Virginia, there's a bipartisan push to allow people serving long prison sentences to potentially get out early. The bill put up in the state's General Assembly would allow inmates to file a petition for their release. Judges would take into account the prisoner's age, behavior while incarcerated, and several other factors. The judge could then dismiss that petition, modify the sentence, or release the inmate on probation. One woman says her incarcerated husband deserves the second chance.
He has done immeasurably well. He's created programs. He is helping to mentor other youth that are incarcerated to help them be better people when they return to the community and to steer them away from the path that they are on that has landed them in prison.
Now, crime victims would also be part of the process and could make their wishes known before a judge makes any decision on their own. In the Commonwealth as well, 2 people recovering in the hospital after 2 separate fires late this evening. The first on the left of your screen had happened on Kings Hill Court in Mount Vernon around 6. Officials found 1 person inside the home. The second just hours later on Mockingbird Drive in Annandale. Fire crews also able to rescue 1 person. So far, no word on the extent of their injuries or the cause of those fires. D.C. police say they have arrested 3 teenagers for assaulting and carjacking a rideshare driver in Southeast. Officials say that the driver picked up the teens at the intersection between South Capitol and Southern Avenue around 5:30. The teen, one of them, told the driver to take them to the alley near Horner Place in Southeast. One of the teens then allegedly pulled out a gun, demanded the victim's car keys. When the victim refused, that assault happened. The car and the suspects left. Police were able to find the car. The victim took her to the hospital for treatment. And there's a new sheriff in Berkeley County. Former West Virginia State Trooper Rob Blair was sworn in on Friday. He replaces Nathan Harmon, who recently resigned. You may remember last month, Harmon took a plea deal with county prosecutors over charges that he interfered with an investigation into his daughter's car accident. The new sheriff says his top priority is bringing Berkeley County together.
Unity is so important in any community. If you have division, and we've seen so much division the last several years in this nation, in this world, and at some point we have to get this unity back, and I intend on doing that here in Berkeley County.
More on this story online. What's next for Blair and the election ahead at DCNewsNow.com. In Virginia, Democrats are moving forward with plans to raise the Commonwealth's minimum wage. A House committee just approved a bill to bring it up to $15 per hour by 2026. Right now, it's $12 an hour. Democrats are now in charge of both chambers and say the bill is necessary to ensure families can make ends meet. But Republicans say the measure could put people out of business.
It'll make a difference to that single mother, to those people who are having a difficult time making ends meet, and this will help them just a little bit. I can think of a lot of people that it would help.
How can you argue for a $15 minimum wage and not address the other problem, which will likely end up closing multiple small businesses, especially in my communities?
An identical bill in the Senate committee also passed earlier this week.